a pearl of network that pushes you to go out of your comfort zone and explore new things. All different kinds of people, different industries, and you learn from each other. And in a team setting, I mean, professors are there to help, teach, but you actually learn from your team. So that was one amazing aspect. And towards the end of the program, I would say it simply changes the way you look at world and your thought process and how you should not limit to one particular thing. The whole world is the playground, and you can play the game you want. Well, this is something I've learned also, that your skill sets, your knowledge can only take you to a level. Beyond that, it's how good you are at decision making. I might have everything that I need to make a decision, but I cannot because I don't have those leadership skills, you can call it, confidence, you call it, forward looking, what can be the effect of my decision. And I think that's where the fear and courage comes into picture. There's a very fine line. You are fearful yet courageous enough to make a decision, and that's what brings the leader out of a person. I think the training we get is not about making the right decision, because it is a decision, but it is definitely about asking the right question and then make sound decision.
Namaskar, I'm Ashok Vyas, and I'm sitting here with Dr. Aniket Vyas. Dr. Aniket did his PhD, some chemical thing. What
Polymer science.
Polymer science. In addition to being someone who is serving a company at an important position and taking care of two beautiful small children, of course with their mother, he decided to opt and go for Executive MBA program at Michigan Ross.
Yes.
And today was the day when he graduated. So in addition to congratulating him, I thought let's take advantage of what he has learned and see if there is something that comes to us. There are some questions that are repeated, so I'll try to go from a different door for the similar type of thinking pattern, and let's talk about the ability to solve problems. And I think that is what it boils down to. What did you learn in the team of students at Michigan Ross?
Yes.
And today was the day when he graduated. So in addition to congratulating him, I thought let's take advantage of what he has learned and see if there is something that comes to us. There are some questions that are repeated, so I'll try to go from a different door for the similar type of thinking pattern, and let's talk about the ability to solve problems. And I think that is what it boils down to. What did you learn in the team of students at Michigan Ross?
Yes.
And today was the day when he graduated. So in addition to congratulating him, I thought let's take advantage of what he has learned and see if there is something that comes to us. There are some questions that are repeated, so I'll try to go from a different door for the similar type of thinking pattern, and let's talk about the ability to solve problems. And I think that is what it boils down to. What did you learn in the team of students at Michigan Ross?
Yes.
And today was the day when he graduated. So in addition to congratulating him, I thought let's take advantage of what he has learned and see if there is something that comes to us. There are some questions that are repeated, so I'll try to go from a different door for the similar type of thinking pattern and let's talk about the ability to solve problems. And I think that is what it boils down to. What did you learn in the team of students and the way different subjects were revealed to you? Do you feel yourself better equipped to solve similar problems than what you would have approached that kind of a problem in your work setting, let's say 2 years ago?
Absolutely, it made a difference, but I would put some addition there. Ability to solve problem is one thing, where things are crystal clear and you can solve a problem. However, in this course, it started like that, but it moved towards ambiguity, where there was no clear solution. You may have all kinds of tools to solve a problem, and depending on how you use the tool, you will have a different solution. And based on that, again, no solution might be right or wrong, but what would you use to the best of your judgment depending on the ambiguity presented to you? I think that was more for stretching our imaginations and thought process, and eventually that where it boiled down to how to ask the right question and choose the right set of tools to solve a problem.
Type of thinking pattern, and let's talk about the ability to solve problems, and I think that is what it boils down to. What did you learn in the team of students and the way different subjects were revealed to you? Do you feel yourself better equipped to solve similar problems than what you would have approached that kind of a problem in your work setting, let's say 2 years ago?
Absolutely, it made a difference, but I would put some addition there. Ability to solve problem is one thing where things are crystal clear and you can solve a problem. However, in this course, it started.
Let's look at the word management. How would you define it if you want to?
Management can operate at different levels. It can be any kind of management, say in terms of technology, it can be data management. In terms of leadership, it can be people management. But at the end of the day, it's all about how we are adding value to the society.
This is very good, like adding value to the society. So each one would add value to the society in different way based on the role that they have chosen for themselves or which is given to them. And so you had in your group of students people with medical background, people with finance background, you come with PhD from chemistry background, etc. So what was it that you would say was the common ground or the common track so that it is applicable in different settings, whether you are coming from media, whether you are coming from technology, etc.?
It was not a particular skill, I would say, that was a commonality. What I found was people, from medical background, media background, non-engineering background, engineering background. The only common thing I noticed was the endless yearning to learn. I think that was the commonality, and then we worked out. There were so many things, for example, marketing that I did not understand. I was good at mathematics, being an engineer, but finance was not I would not say not cup of my tea, but finance was something I was never exposed to. And then we have CFOs in our class who taught us how to deal with the world of finance. So I think common thing was we want to learn. And then there are people in the class who will make sure that they bring you along with them to the same level.
Talking about learning, and learning is again a very open sort of a suggestion. So you learn so many things. And in the case of your group, and I was listening to the speech of one of the students who was chosen to address, he also talked in little humorous way about you guys have spent $186,000, and he mentioned how that paper looks, which you have paid this much amount to get. Now, if it is only learning, why would one be willing to shell that kind of money? So, in addition to learning, it is not just adding value to the society; it is adding value to yourself also.
Absolutely.
So, what value do you think it adds, or it is revealed down the line on the job?
It is, well, first of all, it is the kind of network that Ross embraces, the alumni and the openness. So it starts with the learning, but then how do you satisfy that learning, or how do you grow? Well, there is an extended network, extended programs, professor, people, students. You can always reach out to them. So that is one. Second thing is, yes, there are all kinds of tools available, but then how to use them in the most efficient way. So that was another thing. The third thing I found in this program was the focus on leadership, which to me was something abstract 2 years ago. I always thought leadership is something you are born with. It comes out natural. In this program, I realized no, it is actually cultivated and practiced. It's not something you can take for granted, or it is what it is. So that kind of shift in the thought process, I think that tells a lot. I think eventually the success of any program would be if the student, when he came in and when he's going out, is he the same person? If he is, I think that says the program has failed. And I would say Ross has done an amazing job.
I'm really happy, and I'm trying to see what is the difference that this program has made to you. And as you talked about certain nuances of leadership, what have you learned? Like the way you are mentioning, leadership is a skill and that can be developed. It is not that you are born with it. So if you give us like 1, 2, 3 points which makes a leader a good leader, and again, just as a layman, I think leadership in the corporate world requires probably different skill set than in the political world, etc.
Yes, well, I'll give how my thought process has changed. I think I'm still developing into leadership roles, but having spent so much time in research, in developing products, and those kind of things, I think I've stayed in my cocoon for a very long time. So my worldview of corporate research was pretty siloed. And I think within the first term here, I realized I'm open to take chances. I was open to get out of my comfort zone. So as soon as I started this program, I also moved to a management role, which is more of a business role that needs some sort of leadership skills, and you grow as you develop those skills. And I've been in that role for almost 1.5 years now, and the ability to take learnings from the classroom to my work, and then learnings from my work and apply that to the classroom discussion has been an amazing journey. Like 2 learnings going hand in hand, parallel to each other, that was amazing. Coming back to leadership question, I think getting out of your comfort zone, that was the one thing. Asking the right questions, that is something I've learned in my business role. Well, I used to do that, but that was very technical oriented. And for a person like me who has stayed in that silo for so long time, it was difficult for me to come out of my comfort zone. Even if I want to, I don't know how to. So again, this program provided that platform. And if I'm anxious about something, uncertain about something, there were always people whom I could go to and would direct me with the right mindset.
Very, very good. So as we are privileged to be sitting at a place where he got his part of the learning at Michigan Ross, and while we are privileged, I would also go to that reference where listening to the speeches at the graduation ceremony, I felt the essence, the culmination of their speech was pretty much spiritual in nature. They were talking about you need to identify or understand who are you and where you are coming from and why are you doing what you are doing, and they were underlying the importance of being fearless, etc. So in your take, you have read Bhagavad Gita also. Do you see that there are certain principles which sort of are kind of common, or they resonate with your spiritual orientation that also comes from the management class?
Yeah, provided I grew up in a family with all the spiritual profoundness. I was surprised and taken away towards the end of this program that eventually what we talk about change in thought process, and in the management classes, and what we talk about disassociate yourself with your identity, and at the same time karam kiye ja phal ki ichha mat kar, and it was pretty much same, like you have to make a decision and move on. There is ambiguity. All you can do is what you have in your control, and then remaining just left to the circumstances, and we'll see how that goes. So best example, this tariff situation, yeah, we see the impact every day in our job, and I can assure you everyone in my class was affected by that, working on something. But again, this is something not in our control, but what we can do to make the best out of it. I think everyone was focused on that. So that's one example I can share, recent.
So very quickly and very briefly, 1-2 questions. One relates to the arrival of artificial intelligence in a big way in our lives. So the decision-making process is also kind of different now, because you have an additional buddy or assistant who is very, very resourceful in form of artificial intelligence. So do you see data and then now this insight which is artificially being given to you, how does that make a difference in the workplace situation? It adds to your challenges, or it acts as an asset?
Well, in my opinion, artificial intelligence is definitely acting more as an asset. It is creating new skill sets, and it is going to require new skill sets in corporate, how I see it in future. But when I see it as a challenge, it can be making sure the privacy is maintained, data is, confidential data is managed properly. Those kind of challenges are there, because the more access you have to data, more prone it is to a systematic attack from outside. So that's one aspect. But looking at the positives, I think it helps you think more logically. There are so many thoughts a person can have. Artificial intelligence does a great job in segmenting that, and then your human angle still needs to be there. Artificial intelligence is not going to make a decision for you, but it can definitely show you 5 different possibilities, and then you use your judgment. So human touch will always be needed, but I see artificial intelligence as something that is going to shape our future with more efficiency.
Absolutely. And considering part related to managing time, while I'm fascinated by how many hats you could wear at the same time in the past 2 years, what was the secret of being able to have this sort of an arrangement of your relationship with time, which helped you in being at a position where we get to congratulate you and be proud that you are passing this with flying colors?
I think the most important thing was clear expectations, even before we started the program, and this was an advice given to us by previous cohort students. Like, your family needs to be on board with what you are signing up for. So I think before I started this program, I used to ask 10 times to my wife, "Are you sure?" Because this is going to be equally or the same amount or maybe more hardship for you than me, provided we have a brand new baby. No, but I think managing the expectations, having clear communication, even between husband and wife, that helped a lot. In absence of clear and this goes in corporate world also. Of course, the nature of communication can be different, but at the end of the day, clear communication is absolutely necessary. And when you manage expectation and be more tactical about managing your time, more conscious, I think eventually it works out.
Wonderful. Lastly, because Aniket is Aniket, stress is an integral part nowadays of the modern man, it appears, and especially when these kind of work situations where you have a lot of uncertainty, sometimes because of the political environment, sometimes XYZ reasons. So was there any reference of how to deal with stress also as a part of your management course?
There were various workshops that used to take place within our management course from time to time. In fact, I remember within our first term there was a workshop on stress management, and I was so surprised to know that we talked about breathing techniques. I took a strategy leadership program, and one of the things, so we have a professor, Ivan, and he has written a book about, the title of the book is Chatter, and a couple of tools he shared to how to stop mental chatter, a person being anxious at 2 a.m. and what are the questions you ask yourself. And some of the tools I was surprised with was chant some mantras that can help you relieve the stress. So again, physical activity can reduce mental stress. So again, not something that we don't know, but having that distilled, channelized in a very filtered way, provided to us so that we can make use of that in a very practical way. I think that stood out in the program as part of leadership development as well.
Wonderful. I heard from some of your colleagues, they were very happy to have you, and one quality which was underlined was that Aniket is very kind. Now, humility, kindness, etc., how do you see these have their role to play on the corporate ladder?
Now, it can go negative also. Sometimes kindness and humility can be perceived as weakness. And so sometimes when I got these kind of feedbacks, I've made sure and asked them, like, this is not something being perceived as weakness. Or sometimes I tend to stay silent, even in the meeting rooms at job or in our team meetings. And I was always, I think that comes natural, but I was always respectful of others' opinion, and not because I want to or that's the way to do it, but that comes naturally. And I think that's how it should be, because you never know who might have an amazing opinion, just not speaking out, because I used to be in those shoes. So provided I sometimes ask myself how I would like to be treated, and I tend to treat others that way, and I think that's a healthy way to nurture a team relation.
I don't know whether it is funny or whatever it is, but I was just reminded of what I heard from my grandfather. Every morning he, along with his prayer, used to say, दूसरों के साथ वो व्यवहार न करें जो हमें अपने लिए पसंद नहीं. And I'm really it's very interesting for me to see that traveling the same idea. And I think there are some universally applicable ideas that continues to help mankind wherever they are. I think that is where I am, and I once again would like to thank you for giving me this time for this brief interaction right after your graduation ceremony. And I think at this point, when you look at life with the vision to apply your learning, etc., it's going to be an exciting journey, and I wish you a lot of success. And again, there is always a last question. So this is actually going to be the last question. So for those youngsters who are listening to you, and they are sort of in a state sometimes when the technology is pulling them away, they do not have sort of sustained concentration, etc. And sometimes they are also unsure of what they want to do in life, etc. And the question about why you do what you do, etc. What is your take? And allow me to add one bit of through your management course, or is there any role model that comes to your mind in terms of someone who is a thinker and who is also a part of this management fraternity?
Well, first of all, I would like to make it clear that I belong to the same generation who can be distracted with digital, so I'm no different. However, I was fortunate enough to meet some good people here, understand how they tackle this, and I think my suggestion would be, don't get comfortable. That would be the first thing. And by that, what I mean is, if you find a path to embark your journey upon, don't think that is the final path. So be ready to break out of it, and don't be afraid of getting out of your comfort zone, because at the end of the day, it is a mental training to do great things. And by great things, I really mean it has nothing to do with external perception of how you are performing, but it's more about how you perceive yourself. I can name few of my classmates whom I was fortunate to work with. Nate, he had a lasting impression on me. Then he was in our Ann Arbor cohort. Arthur in LA cohort. The way he used to solve problems with the focus now. Will I say we don't get distracted? Yeah, I think all of us we do. But at the same time, we need to acknowledge it and be gentle about it, because that's the way we can get rid of it at the end of the day. The more we push back, it may come back with a vengeance.
Wonderful. So on that note, I thank gentleman Aniket Vyas for being with us with lots and lots of good wishes. This is Ashok with Dr. Aniket, a fresh graduate Ross Management, Executive Management Program.
Thank you.
Thanks for being with us.